Hi everybody, I'm Sarah Oggle-Smith. Welcome to my latest SOS parenting video. Today I just wanted to spend a few minutes to talk to you about the theory of containment and why it's so important that all parents understand it. So the idea of containment was from the psychologist Wilfred Bion, and he spoke about the idea of parents being a container for their child's feelings and emotions that the child struggled to hold metaphorically. So let's imagine that you have a child who is having a tantrum or lots of frustration or just really difficult behaviour, or maybe they're waking up lots in the night, whatever it is that they're struggling with. And they have all of these big feelings, but their capacity in their brain development to hold on to and almost neutralize these feelings is very limited, because obviously they're small and their brains aren't fully developed. So what you see is a big sort of explosion because their containers are too small to contain these big feelings. So what can happen then is the parent or carer could either ignore or exclude or punish the child, and in which case they're sort of saying to them, I don't want to cope with your behaviour, with these feelings. I need you to deal with them by yourself, which obviously we know that they can't do. If a parent contains the child's feelings, what they're saying to them is, I'm mature enough, my mental capacity, my brain development is big enough to hold both your difficult feelings and my own as well. I like to describe this as talking about imagining an actual container. So I often talk about, if you read my books, the Gentle Discipline book and Between, I talk about a family-sized box of cornflakes. Now let's imagine that you have a massive box of cornflakes and you're trying to decant these cornflakes into a small container, like a small personal Tupperware container. If you keep pouring in these cornflakes, very quickly the container will get filled up, and if you keep pouring, it will explode and you'll have a big mess of cornflakes everywhere. Now what I've just described there is a young child's capacity to hold those big feelings and emotions, their emotion regulation capacity. Their containers are very small and they've got too much stuff, too many cornflakes, so there's a big explosion everywhere. Now what we need to do as the adults is to come along with our bigger containers. Let's imagine we have a big family-sized Tupperware container which can contain all of that big family-sized box of cornflakes. So when we're supporting our child with difficult feelings or tantrums or something, what we're doing is, metaphorically, is we're decanting some of those cornflakes into our own container so that we are holding the mess. We're holding all of those big feelings and we're able to support the child, not just physically but emotionally too. However, imagine though, if your container, which should hold a family-sized box of cornflakes, is already a bit full. So you've got your own cornflakes in there, whether that's difficulties with work or finances or relationship, or you're not feeling very well, or you're just really tired. You will say phrases such as, I can't take any more, I'm full up, I've had it up to here. So when we're feeling full ourselves, what happens is we can't take on board our child's big difficult feelings. So not only do they have an overspill or a tantrum or a meltdown or whatever it is of these big difficult feelings, but so do we too as adults. And very often as adults we have our own tantrums when we're full up and we have our own explosions. So what we need to do in order to contain our child's big feelings, so by that I mean to help them to diffuse them and calm them down and just get them sort of back into a state of emotional homeostasis, what we need to do as parents is we need to offload our container a little bit. So we need to learn to say no when we're feeling fed up and we can't take anymore. We need to not take on more projects. So I'm getting much better at being able to say no to things. But I think it's something we all have to work on. We also need to think about what we need to do to offload, to make some space. So can you outsource things? Can you talk to somebody to lighten the load? Can you ask somebody to help you out? Can you just do anything that makes you feel like you've got a bit of headspace? So for some people that might be going for a run, for some it might be chatting to a friend, for some it might be an early night, reading a fiction book, forgetting with parenting books. But whatever we need to do, we must make space. We must stop taking on board all of these new cornflakes, new big feelings and emotions that fill us up, and we must make space, because when we've made space, not only is it easier for us, we are less likely to have our own tantrums, but then we have space to take on board those of our children. And really that is the best way, if not the only way, to help them through normal infant development, when all of these tantrums and big feelings are just the norm. So it's really about us making space, to contain the big difficult feelings that our children have. And that's containment in a nutshell. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks, and see you soon.